afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast. Me, your host, Imperial Dane, Master Propaganda, hero of the Reich, defender of the fatherland. We're off here to a 1-1 on a Faymonville Approach. Between these, we got here Fortune fighting for the Wehrmacht, Germany, Deutschland, taking on the role here of the Panzerdivision versus in the west. We got here Tiramisu fighting for king and country, the Commonwealth. Taking on the role here of the 11th Armored Division, Fortune with Mechanized Doctrine right off the bat, Panzergrenadier Infantry and Mine Bulletins versus Tiramisu Special Weapons, Mobile Assault Commando, and Triple Infantry for Tiramisu. Tiramisu, by the way, of course, a very high ranked player. I think he's like extremely high ranked with the US and F, and, well, the UK. He's probably also reasonably high ranked. He was at least, I think, top 10 if not at one point, like number 2 with the USF. So again, he's a solid player, and of course, Fortune will know well, top 100 player as well. Also pretty solid. Cool. Didn't quite get around to checking his current rank with the Wehrmacht, but probably something around rank 70-60. Also a very solid player, and saying also a more imaginative player, which I think tends to make Fortune's games pretty interesting to cast. We got a double section start there for Tiramisu with the Universal Cage moving straight towards here, trenching down on the field point. Fortune in northward, stay with the Pioneers, got an 74-2 setting up here in the house to thusly defend the area around here to make it harder for Tiramisu just to push forward. We're starting up there with the Universal Carrier, a multi-purpose vehicle in the British Armed Forces. Used as a tractor, reconnaissance vehicle, and troop transport. It served many purposes and could also serve as a weapons platform itself. In fact, they mounted numerous weapons on it, flamethrowers, light machine guns. They mounted 50 caliber machine guns on, even anti-light, anti-tank guns, and the Germans themselves converted a bunch they captured, I think, in Dunkirk to have Panzerschrecks mounted on them. The lead is being pursued by the Universal Carrier section playing up here from the south. Unfortunately, about to deal with that, but the Universal Carrier could threaten here a bit further. We got Y going up here to help defend the northern victory point there. Tiramisu will just securing the rest of the map here aggressively with his infantry sections, advancing for king and country. But mechanized doctrine is certainly something we don't see all the time, though it does see some usage. It's popular because the command tanks, spotting scopes, artillery's handy, and the smoke bombs, if you actually know how to use them, are also pretty good. The mechanized grenadier group is a bit on the weaker side, mostly of course because the 250 half-track itself just isn't quite worth it. But we got Grenadiers following up for Fortune and the Panzerdivision. So far here, Tiramisu is not quite keen on sort of engaging head on. Instead, it's just going to try and fortify his territory, basically using sandbags here as barbed wire. Obviously, infantry can pass over it, but it basically means if he tries to then retreat, they'll take a longer path. So that sort of works out there for Tiramisu in that sense. Also just makes it easy for him to defend the point here. So right off the bat, Tiramisu gaining a lot of territory, sticking in there as well. Fortune in no rush here versus Tiramisu and the 11th Armored Division. No rush at all. Bit of positioning down south. Trench there ready if need be. He could lay down more trenches here. He could lay down more sandbags. Yeah, in fact, he's going to sandbag off here. But there you go. Engaged, but Grenadiers caught out here. But looks like Fortune isn't quite paying attention. And there you go. Quickly disrupts that. Bit of back and forth up north here. Bit of an awkward position there. Bit of a standoff. And there you go. Section versus Grenadiers here. Shots back, fight back and forth. They got medical supplies up to the section. Mortar on the way for Fortune. Now he's going to have to attack into sort of more fortified positions. Having a mortar in support is a pretty good choice there for Fortune. As he takes up, so his access. Nothing there. But of course, it does have access to Panzerfaust. Of course, that requires some munitions for it. Pushing against the Universal Carrier, they're going to try and get close in Panzerfaust. There you go. R2 gets within range, fires, and almost got it there. Very low on health there. Also, platoon command post up there for Tiramisu on his base up north. You got Pioneers for the section there. Grenadiers there, finding onwards in the side of the house. Other section inside the trench, and there you go. Gets Universal Carrier. Bit of loss there for Tiramisu, following up with the sapper section. Grenadiers were likely forced to fall back. They're taking too much damage there. Another section forced away. Gaining Fortune control of the centre, of course. There's still that little problem there. Pioneers forced away up from the far north as Tiramisu's section repulses it with heavy losses. And there you go, Grenadiers forced away. Section inside the trench is going to be a problem until he can bring up the mortar to just silence it. Which will certainly take Fortune a few seconds to get all going. Take up there for Fortune and the Panzerdivision. Section now reinforcing, healing up, getting ready for the next big push. MD42 shifting about here. Probe to repulse any attempt here by Tiramisu to threaten the northern victory point. There you go, section pulling out of the trench. Going for the centre there. So in this regard, Fortune is very quick to split up his forces very thinly, which will make them more open there for a counter-attack from Tiramisu. So that's a bit risky there by Fortune, a bit risky. Got 3 grenadiers, 142, 1 mortar here. There's 3 sections and a sapper section there. Quickly dodging the mortar hit there. Very nice. Well, for Tiramisu, obviously not so much for Fortune, who's quick to get out of the way here of the section in the centre. And MD42 is basically just waiting for the section to move in inside the fire here. And there you go, straight into the MD42s. Opening up and suppressing those Tommy bastards pretty schnell. In the south, they like to make a nice company going for Fortune. Panzer Grenadiers who could be quite helpful. Of course, he might go for a 2-2 or a flame for a half-tack. And of course, Pack 40 is also an option. Depends, of course, if he's expecting Tiramisu to go for an armoured car himself. Which Tiramisu, by the way, is. He's already requisitioned. He just needs to go for the armoured car. Before taking to deal with up here, but with a little support, it's going to take it ages to deal with that section. Absolute ages. And Cook is losing the victory point there. Light machine something going to jump the section there. Mortar still nearby, but they're getting assaulted by sappers. Basically avoid all of Fortune's infantry. Bit to their own risk, and there you go. Fortune successfully pushing them back. Section finally pushed back up north by the MG42. Fortune still, I think, dramatically scatters across the map. Tiramisu flooding resources. Could go for the armoured car. He could also soon go for just infiltration commandos if he wants to. There we go, that's the right one. Popping back towards the trench there, but low on health there. Bit more risky now, and looks like Tiramisu realises that situation is not good. Sappers, section engaging the Grenadiers in the centre. Pulling up into heavy cover, should have the advantage there as the Grenadiers, unless the Grenadiers get a bit lucky. Meanwhile, we got the 2-2 on the way for Fortune and the Panzer Division. I don't think they would have had any by 1944-45. Most 2-2s would have been more or less just halted in production by that time. And the Panzer being an elite division would have most likely had access to the 250 half-track, which was actually being upgraded into armoured cars by that point, and also known as the Kaiser. That's a fun fact there. But basically it was a 250 half-track with the same gun as the 222. But basically that was what the 222 was being replaced by, because the 222 had several series of deficiencies, including it wasn't very good off-road. And they just figured increasingly that they could just use the 251 half-track as well for reconnaissance battalions rather than using the 250 half-track. So there were some changes there to production lines for the Germans rather late into the war. Mortar placement up here to cover the centre of the map there for Fortune. Also a lot of Bren guns going up there for Tiramisu. Increasing the firepower of his men versus Fortune's forces of the Panzerlehr. Going to move straight to the trench there. Most of those within supporting range. We've got the 2-2 moving in. There we go. Some of these still very quick to retreat as they can actually fight an entrenched section there with a Bren gun. And there you go, got the AC Mark 3 on the way there for Tiramisu. A lot of heavy mortar fire there raining against Fortune's men as they flee the front line, stricken by panic and terror, and most likely, mortar fire at them, and they having low health. Got a second mortar here though from Fortune, possibly in response to the enemy mortar, possibly just as the state of war face expecting, and that's deciding another mortar is going to be quite useful here. Could also be quite good then, having a chance at wiping out Tiramisu's infantry. I mean, double mortars overall tends to be, for no matter what faction, pretty efficient. Of course a bit expensive, but generally double mortars can threaten infantry quite well, in particular if the opponent is not quite sufficiently aware of things. Medic bunker up there for Fortune and the Panzer Division, so named because of it was informed up from training and instruction units to form up an elite division by the late stage of the war. I believe it was suggested by Guderian himself actually to the Führer. It's basically a way of sort of just quickly creating an elite division. Which of course rather meant, of course, they're themselves cutting down on their ability to train new units, though of course because they're sending all the instruction crew and trainers and all that towards the front line. That wasn't completely far off from what the Germans were already doing, since basically even before that they were generally sort of forming up small battalions of trainers, instructors, and sending them to the front line to that way update the curriculum, if you will. That's a fun side note there. A lot of mortar fire there, but we got Fortune's mortars there also raising now counter Tiramisu's. Well, probably more just hurt his infantry in return. Yeah, if those assholes can have double mortars, so can we. I don't think that's how it works, Helmut. Shut up, Ludwig. Shut up. And this was a section there, a bit of shooting back and forth here. But needs to be careful of that house again. It is within range of his mortar emplacement. Looks like something went kaboom, though it's a bit hard to say what and where. Section there, holding up against the Pioneers, and 4-2 shifting position, not grabbing the northern munitions. Any take up there for Fortune as of yet? 9, and there go Grenadiers force away. Again, just too many sections, and of course too many mortar bombs. It's a bit of slightly static warfare between the two sides. Armoured car there opening up the Grenadiers with its 75mm cannon. Another section away there for Tiramisu. It's actually going heavier into the infantry. There is yet to go for Doctrine.
An infantry section of Tommies has been trained.
Got the 2-2 joining in there, blazing ahead of the infantry. Quickly also getting up in front of the daughter bases for increased chance if they try to escape. They will take a lot of damage up close there from the autocannon, the action machine gun, possibly increasing Fortune's chance of actually getting officers right. But there you go, we got the AC monthly moving in as well here. They can't see it as yet. Maybe the Grenadiers can sort of spot it there, but it's hard to say. There it goes, section almost dead, but does successfully escape here. The clutches of Fortune and the Panzerlehr. A quick strike here, but the armoured car lands a good hit. Quick rushing hit there. And there you go, Gala Pack footed and landing a good hit there. The Panzerabwehr can only 40. North there, point's been grabbed. Point there also being grabbed. And there goes, actually going after the AC with the 2-2, rather risky in this case, but does succeed because you can actually get behind the AC and do a lot of damage. He actually gets the main gun with the 2-2. I think he's not going to pursue because it's a bit too risky, doesn't know what's near supporting it, but still, he at least has put the AC out of commission for a while. Then his 2-2 is still alive. That was extremely well there by Fortune, and a bit lucky to be honest, but he did pull it off. They did pull it off. There goes Sappers shouting straight at the gunners. We got Piats out for them. Projector infantry, anti-tank. The Brits own attempt at making a anti-tank weapon for the infantry. Wasn't quite as effective, but it's what they had. So here's a bazooka or Panzerschreck, because it was a spring-loaded weapon, which gave it some advantages, but it had a lot of disadvantages as well. And these were the section, Bren guns versus Carnot TKs. Panzer Grenadier on the way there for Fortune, using his pack power to destroy the trench. It's a very good choice there by Fortune. Pretty much makes it harder for teammates to just sort of dig in and sort of hold up there, and he's doing the same up here by the northern victory point, making sort of reasonably fair use of the trench. I mean, some players will go very heavy on trenches, while some will just go for them when they absolutely feel like they have to. They don't feel like spamming trenches all the places. They do cost 50 manpower per trench. At the same time, looks like he's actually managed to hold down the mortar emplacement there by hammering away with its mortars, forcing him to brace down. He doesn't follow up with anything. By the viewpoint in the north, Fortune is desperately conducting a stalling operation to get up some troops on Magin to defend the victory point, as Tiramisu is positioning increasing large amount of forces there to try and grab it. The machine gun will hold things for now. No take a bit there for Fortune, though for Tiramisu we do have tanks on the way. Soon enough, that's going to be a problem there for Fortune. We got more sappers for him as well. Armoured car, they're almost good to go. In the south, we got the Panzer Grenadier there, catching the section of the Dick Trench, punishing them with their Sturmgewehrs. There we go, down to just 2 men and running, and finishing off the trench very fast.
The enemy have destroyed a forward position.
So that's a bit unfortunate there for Tiramisu. Got the AC ring, but there you go, mortifying the Panzers, immediately wiping half the unit. Bit unfortunate there for Fortune, a bit bloody. And Mortar in the centre being caught as well, but the British need to be careful not to expose them too much, as obviously he could very quickly risk then handing them over to the opponent, at which point he then has a mortar emplacement and a third mortar, for example, which is really bad if that happens for Fortune. Attack 40 still in the south here, though, expecting the armoured car to hang around, though there we go, shoots and horrifically misses. Section there repulsed by the mortars. Overall, Tiramisu remains in map control here, but it's not actually doing a lot sort of further fortified. There's not a lot of mines, for example. Just that mortar emplacement, that's really it there from Tiramisu. Not a lot of sandbags, the occasional trench, and that's it. So certainly I feel like more that Tiramisu could be doing here. This is Fortune. There you go, another good hit out of the Pack 40 on the AC. 2-2 could maybe rush in and finish it off here. Almost got it, there we go. 2-2 is also good to go. Panzer goes down to 1 man. Just Carl there left to fight against Tommies. There you go, got the 2-2 rolling hit, go straight for the section net, force on the way. Good try and pursue the AC and get it here. And this against the section net, got still continuing mortar fire raining down all over the place here. Oh dear, he's got nothing covering the AC here, and looks like Fortune is slightly spotting it out here. Going straight for it, even France in the air, though with that much little health left, and the AC could get it, and there you go, the AC goes down, the ammunition is cooked up, roasting the crew alive. Definite victory there for Fortune. Only committed a 2-2-2 to the front, really. And of course, the Pack 40. There we go, gaining victory 2 there on the armoured car. But the 2-2, there were no serious counter on the field. It's actually going to be quite a nuisance for Tiramisu. Quite a nuisance. But he's bringing out a Cromwell tank, and that, of course, is where Fortune is a bit behind. He is yet to take up. He's yet to go for any armour, which is actually, I think, a bit of a mistake here. Even if he was planning, say, for Tier 4. He could already have the tech ready for that, I think. So he definitely needs to do something fast here. Lest he risks being overrun by British armour. Got the Panthers there launching an assault ahead there with Grenadiers throwing up their support. That's good. But still, they're out in the open taking most of their fire there, so that's a bit risky. Not enough news for a bun grenade, so can't really flash them out. There we go, mortar rounds just wipe most of the remaining men, leaving again poor Carl to do all the fighting. And in this case, most of the running too.
Cromwell gun tank ready for action.
There we go. Cromwell arriving for Tiramisu. Fortune struggling a bit there, map control wise. He's certainly behind Tiramisu in victory points. Not looking frightfully amazingly good there. And there's still overall no sign of take up there for Fortune. Sappers out nearly getting blasted by light machine gun fire. Cromwell moving in for a bit of fun. And the Pack 40 is... Where's the Pack 40 actually? It's all the way down there, so he can't really meet him up support. Can he's pushing through the centre here. 2 rolling hit as well, so Cromwell's now attacking his mortar here at his base, threatening Fortune at his very own base. We got the Pack 40 finally moving up there for Fortune. 2 rolling ahead here. Might go straight here for the mortar emplacement, taking advantage of all the chaos and anarchy elsewhere. So we're trying to deliver a blow there. There you go, firing away at mortar emplacement, forcing it to brace, freeing up his infantry for not getting fired at. Pack 40 continuing northwards here. Mortar firing down the house here with the second link when it is joining in as well there. And the 2-2 quick to roll back there once it's forced it to brace, and we got a command tank out here for Fortune. Still no sign of take up, but the way he's doing it could indicate he might be planning for Tier 4 and basically use the command tank to buy him time and build up the heavy panzer support and get out some armour. Would have to say that's pretty risky. I mean, he could easily have medium armour up at this point, so not entirely sure what he's up to here. We're going straight here for the Cromwell with his command tank, landing a few hits there. With its slow velocity semi-final on the cannon, which is what the Panzer IV was originally equipped with. As basically initially meant as a support tank for infantry. Not really meant to take on other tanks, but as the war progressed in the Panzer fleet, which was meant to take on tanks, rather increasingly became clear it was not suited for the job. They rather switched over to the Panzer IV, sort of being more the all-round medium tank, sort of, you know, be the backbone. That's a little fun side note there. The cannon itself, though, the same family of cannon, will still see a lot of usage, though. They're mostly on light vehicles by the end of the war, like half-tracks and armoured cars. Fun fact. Then he's in push back, the other squad, they're holding up light machine gunning the section there, forcing it away. Still not looking good for Fortune. He's getting control of the central victory point, but he's losing control of the northern fuel point. We got the digging in trenches there as well, looking not very good. There we got a second Pack 40. Certainly another sign here that Fortune is trying, I think, to play for Tier 4 and Panthers. Pack shoots and absolutely miserably misses, but there you go. Target weak point, that ain't good, hitting the Cromwell. Equips it so fast as well. Command tank moving up. High likelihood that Tiramisu is going to lose his Crom there after a perhaps rather last attack. There we go. Command tank crushing sappers beneath its treads, gunning them down. The machine guns well. We've got the Grenadier supporting there. Command tank almost going down. He needs to get out of there before it's too late. Another hit there. Another quick kill. Mortar the white. That's quite a loss there for Fortune, in particular since it's rather close to the front line. He's actually got no way of immediately recovering it. You could roll up the 2-2 to try and contest things from around there. We got the Panzer going to do their ramming as well for their assault rifles. Sweeping away the Tommies like dirt for the mighty German boom of cleanliness. Mortar fire under heavy fire from the Panzers. Got the 2-2 supporting, almost getting vengeance in G2. And there we go, shredding the mortar crew there. Looks like, though, he actually gets away with a mortar nonetheless, escaping Fortune's wrath. Mortar placement there, close to death, but not quite expiring yet. Wrath grenading it just for a bit of added fun, trying to catch some of the sappers there. Pack 40, Panzers moving in, gonna threaten it. And up close, the Panzers will certainly have the advantage there. Up versus the infantry section, in particular with G2 there. Sappers now trying to do the job, and there we go. Mortar in place and finally bites his ass. Got a second crumble out there for Tiramisu. Panzer going to do their continue just blast away, ignoring the sappers to focus down the section. They probably should have focused down the sappers at that point, but oh well. Cromwell aggressively rolling ahead. Command tank receiving repairs still. And Tiramisu now in control of both fuel points and 2 other victory points as well. Fortune needs to be careful doesn't get too overfocused in the centre, of course, forgetting what's also important besides just saying the centre victory point, which is the other victory points, plus at least 1 fuel point. This could end up a bit problematic there for Fortune then, if he does not. More trenches here. So now we can see Tiramisu is digging a lot more trenches, preparing a lot more there for Fortune's advances. So now he's got 1 mortar left, the one he stole from the Germans. Of course, Fortune's got 1 as well. We'll have to see if Tiramisu decides to replace his mortar emplacement or what. So this is going to need repairs. Command tank slowly moving northwards, but the main support's going to take some time to clear up anything there. Just going to try and focus everything on the centre again. Seems like that's exactly what Fortune is doing. He's just launching another head-on assault without even popping down the smoke screen with his mortar, or using smoke bombs for that matter. Disperse some of the incoming fire. Not the best move there, I think, by Fortune. Panzer they're taking off a lot of fire. We're going to bomb grenade off, but he's close to losing the Panzer. He needs to retreat. Looks so. Get out of. Oh, shit. I see. He finally lost them entirely. Not the most supremely wisest move there with his Panzer Grenadier, throwing their way in the face of the 11th Armoured Division. Trench that collapses under the explosive weight of the explosive shells of the command tank there. It was not uncommon for them to use older tanks as command tanks. For example, during Normandy, I believe it was either the first or the second SS that actually used a old Panzer III as a command tank, for example.
Damned enemies trying to take a point from us.
Fun fact there. Got the command tank arriving and opening up, the machine guns blazing away, silencing Brit after Brit. And Fortune there looks like he briefly, I think, considered going for tier 4, but actually decided that's not going to work out. Instead, now back tech. So in that regard, seems like he basically decided his crown plan wasn't working. Instead of just trying to force it to work, he just decided to go for what probably is more likely to work at the moment, which is just go for tier 3 and just get out some stooks. So I think right there, Fortune made the right decision because he very much had all the hallmarks for trying to go for tier 4. A lot of packs, command tank, and you're just trying to build up towards. But again, it's all too slow. Didn't quite, make it work, and so just decide to bite the bullet, just go for tier 3 instead. So that's a good sign. Not all players actually are able to just reflect on the strategy that easily, realize it's not working out, and then just correct it. So very nice to see a player actually adapting what he's doing there to what's actually going on the battlefield. It tends to be one of those mistakes some players like to commit repeatedly. Now of course if we just also then begin focusing on the fuel points and the rest of the map, that'd be amazing. Still, strategically he is certainly making some good moves. Command tank continues to pressure away there at Tiramisu's frontline forces. Will Fortune go for another Stug? Will he go for an Ostwind or a regular Panzer IV here?
We're losing a capture point.
Tiramisu going for a Cromwell. In theory, you try and save up for a Comet here. You aim for something with a bit more punch. And try to build for some kind of superiority. You'd also go for a Churchill tank, but Tiramisu here is just fond of Cromwell tanks, which there's certainly also room for. 6-pounder gun there as well for Tiramisu, so that's an interesting choice there.
There's a rather splendid Cromwell ready
Going for a lot of tanks, but still feeling sufficiently worried enough about armor to go for an anti-tank gun. In the meanwhile, Fortune bringing up more Stooks, more Storm Gizzards, means he's going to have 2 Pack 40s and 2 Stooks. That's going to be an awful lot of anti-tank firepower there, so that we deal with Tiramisu's armor. And there you go, one Cromwell about to go down here from Stook and Pack Fire. We can get the Stook, and there you go, got the Cromwell. But there you go, Cromwell flanking the Pack 40 and the Stook here. Second Pack 40 trying to catch up as well here. The train though allowing here for the Cromwell to maneuver, and there you go, almost got the Stook, almost got it. Just to cover the maneuver so it doesn't get caught here by the Pack 40s. And gets the second Stook. Oh, but he loses the Cromwell as well. That's actually quite a loss there for Tiramisu. 2 Cromwells for the Stook is an extremely good trade there for Fortune. I mean, the Stook is a lot cheaper than 1 Cromwell, and then destroying 2 Cromwells and losing 1 Stook is a very good trade there for Fortune. That's definitely not good for Tiramisu, though. Tiramisu still got most of the map, he still got most of the resources. This only also is a fat victory point. So it's not like Tiramisu is going to make you lose because of this, but it's certain sort of move that's going to give Fortune a good chance of getting back into the game, though. So Tiramisu is going to have to be a bit more on top of things. He also needs to get around to choosing a doctrine. I mean, there's been a definite lack here of it. Commander Regiment Mortar would be great here. Special weapons, maybe with some holding the line or concentrated fire could work out. Mobile assault and flamethrowers. Grenades could also be there for Tiramisu, but I definitely think there needs to be some kind of doctrinal choice there for Tiramisu and the 11th Armoured Stook. They're rolling back in the face of overpowering British anti-tank defences, which is Stook are not very good at dealing with. Section getting gunned down there, but they're going to do this light machine gun, ending them swiftly, grimly. And there you go, mine goes off, wiping out half their grenadiers in return. So it's actually spreading out into the south here, not focusing much in the north. That's at least, you know, not over focusing the centre anymore, which is good for Fortune, less good for Tiramisu. More trenches though being dug. Again, before 2 being flanked by sappers, we've got the Stook covering, but is low on health. Pretty ballsy move. They're going to try and crush the move. We got smoke bombs called in there. I'm not entirely sure why. My guess is he was trying to avoid his pioneers being murdered while they're repairing the command tank, or could have been a misclick. That's basically the only 2 solutions there as to why it's specifically called in there. Either way, the machine gun lost, but almost got the sappers there. Got the command tank rolling ahead. They're closing in the veteran too. And there you go. Steals away the Pack 40, but loses a section. That's quite costly there for Tiramisu. That is quite costly. Tiramisu here might be sort of hitting the stage, but again, he's got such a victory point difference. He might be feeling to get away with some really stupid things, because long term it's not going to matter, because it's not going to be a long term. And that's really sort of, you know, space where a player can then punish his opponent, because a lot of those trades then tend to be really bad actually, and can also be very easily punished. So that could be what's happening here with Tiramisu. That could be what's happening. We'll have to see though. And meanwhile, Morgan, this is unfortunately he's losing out the infantry. Replacement section there for Tiramisu to replace his losses. Down to 100 points here for Fortune. Definitely needs to do something, I think, a bit more drastic to turn things around. And needs to be careful about over-focusing in one point. Tiramisu setting up resources for something. Could be aiming here for special weapons and a crocodile, maybe. At which point he would benefit a lot if he just were to go for the doctrine soon and then make better use of his abilities like a half attack, or again hold the line at right time, could maybe gain some time there to slow down Fortune. But there you go, Gunny's attacking the centre. We got a mix of Bren guns and light machine guns, whatever they can scavenge from death throws and friends alike. 73 points left here, only 1 for Fortune now. It's starting to look really bad there for Fortune, it's starting to look really bad. Tiramisu, they're not doing anything to defend the other victory points, say, you know, with the entrenched units, mines, or anything. And Fortune now going for a half track. That's an interesting timing right here. It's probably to help him reinforce his troops and maintain a frontline presence so he doesn't have to run back and forth so much, but you rarely see a half track like this at the 30-minute mark. That is extremely rare if a player hasn't gone from before to go for this point. So that's a very interesting choice for Fortune. Very interesting choice. Again, not bad. which is really rare and surprising. But again, he can use just, you know, maintain a stronger presence on the front line, meaning he doesn't have to retreat his forces, which of course allows him to easily more push for the points and secure them.
We're losing a capture point.
There you go, Sap has been blasted, but the command tank getting close to Veteran 2, very close to shooting northward, supported by infantry, clearing out the trenches with the 2-2. Not the most efficient way of clearing out a trench, but you know, if you've got nothing else in hand, it'll work.
The Cherries are down to only 50 points.
50 points left. Fortune needs to do something a bit more drastic about those victory points. We've got a counter up north here towards the Pioneers ground point. We've got a section moving in. No flamethrowers on the Pioneers, but to help counter the trench. Just needs to get up with support. So the victory point being grabbed as well. We're taking fire there from sections nearby. Got the command tank rolling up there with the Schutzen. Trying to silence the section there. Not quite landing any serious hits though. Section anti-tank knowing about here up north there. Pioneers push back. Heavy losses there for Fortune and the Fatherland. The Panzer struggling here. And looks like something more or less got silenced, but again, thanks to the half-tank, he doesn't have to retreat the Grenadiers immediately. He can just reinforce on the spot, allowing him to more easily defend the point here in the centre. So that's very good there for Fortune, and probably again why he went for the half-tank here. In part because the half-tank is also movable, and otherwise he'd have to place a command bunker within range of his opponent's mortar emplacement, which I do not think would be a very good choice there for Fortune. So the half-tank here is overall a very good choice, but again, it's just incredibly rare to see a half-tank at this point in the game. Tiramisu there finally goes for Doctrine. It is special weapons. Game could have that out sooner, benefited more from it. Could have the Cascada, half-tank to reinforce his troops himself. Hold the line could maybe have been useful here. Again, is a pretty potent ability if used properly, and of course there's also concentrated fire operation. Sabs are pushing with the Pioneers. Got S-mines down there. Very good for Fortune. Bloody Huns, they got mines. Right, someone get the minesweeper. Where did you get it from anyways? Oh, okay, in my pocket. But why weren't you using it? Well, I have to pay munitions to use it. How does that even work? After a bit sort of just waiting for things to happen as everything else around it is just completely alive with fire and mortars and whatnot. We got the command tank himself hitting a mine there. Pretty bad news there. Pioneers pushing 40 to clear out the Saps and defend the victory point. He's down to 49 points here, getting pretty close there for Fortune. 2-2 rolling it straight into the anti-tank gun. Gets past the RF5 veteran fee there. Getting rather chaotic here, rather chaotic. Panzer was able to help for Fortune. He's getting not a lot more infantry. And we got artillery strike called in here on the mortar and the half-tank position in the centre. Going to need to reinforce him from the nearby half-tank. Needs to reposition the half-tank before it's too late. Fortune, Schnell. Roughing it off in the section up there, almost getting wiped out. We got a firefly on the way here for Tiramisu. Not going for the crocodile after all, it seems. Mortar wipe, but the half-tank survives. Getting into one grenade, almost wiped out. Need to get over to the half-tank. 2-2 rolling about here. Mountain needs to be cleared out. And there you go, reinforcing, recruiting. But utter chaos. He's down to 37 victory points. We've got the Grenadiers half-tank, which will be heading north towards the victory point there. Then we've got a section dug in. Artillery continues to rain down like extremely highly explosive raindrops. And he's using the half-tank to now roll ahead. The Stuke and the Grenadiers is calling in a smoke bomb on the anti-tank gun. Interesting choice there. Now we got the crocodile out there for Tiramisu. At the same time, command tank with Pioneer support. They're clearing out the 7 in the south, getting a Piat drop as well there. Crocodile and getting the Stuke need to pull back. Hickon is supporting as well as they can. Half needs to get out of there before he loses it. The Stuke is drawing all the attention here, as should be expected. Need to get the half to go away though before he realises that's all for them. Could be a good fat target. Pack 40 is bringing up support here. Stuke, they're very low in health. Doesn't have enough ammunition for target weak point. Pack continuing to fire away there at the crocodile. Eventually 2 pack firing to the side there. Down to less than half health here. Pretty bad for him. Stuke that takes a hit there thanks to the command tank. Doesn't get knocked out. Crocodile. Main gun out. The Stuke actually survives it. Even as getting bathed in flames and fire. Sappers section charging 48. They're going to got the command tank now moving up support as well here. Tiramisu at this point seems like a spent force. With Fortune actually pulling through that several times, it rather looked pretty bad for them. But Tiramisu, again, as I sort of suspected, making all of these really bad trades because again, he just want to finish off the fight really fast. And you know, again, if he can just win it now, you know, it doesn't matter what happens later on. Again, that's sort of the mentality you have to be really careful with, because it can severely backfire on you in the face of really determined and stubborn defending players. Fortune did, in part because he actually did go for a half tick, which really just allowed him to hold on a bit better versus some of Tiramisu's attacks. Though again, he did, I think, really get caught up in a nasty salient here in the centre victory point, which again opened up for Tiramisu to be attacked from a lot of fronts. Again, he was lucky though that Tiramisu was not an amazing flanker, just relying on just trying to break through head on instead of trying to look for the weak spot and then hitting that with a lot of force. So in that regard, Tiramisu did make a few mistakes, perhaps got a bit too confident versus Fortune, and Fortune was able to punish it. Though again, Fortune could have gone for tier 3 faster, even gone for, I think, tier 4 faster. He just should have gone for some armor faster, but you know, ultimately didn't quite pull through with that. And ultimately, though, at least realised what he was doing, and you know, just switched tracks, went for some armor quantities, got out some armor that way to sort of turn things around. So it's not like it's completely in a series of trouble there for Fortune. But overall, a nice hectic fight here on Faymonville Approach, with some back and forth, some nasty action, smoke bombs, command tanks, and whatnot. So I hope you enjoyed this match. I hope you learned something from it. And of course, a big thanks to all my Patreon supporters for supporting me, and of course allowing me to make this episode. Big thanks to all of you. And if you'd like to support me, do consider so. Links in the video description, guide of support on Patreon or PayPal. And of course, you can also find a link there to send in replays with. This is Imperial. Cheers, thank you for watching. Hope to see you tomorrow for another exciting episode. Bye.